In 1990, 3% of American men said they had no close friends. By 2021, that figure was 15%, a fivefold rise. And among men who are unmarried and not in a relationship, roughly 1 in 5 report having nobody they would call a close friend. Now hold that next to something else. Ask men living alone how they find it, and a great many of them will tell you it suits them. The quiet, the absence of negotiation, nobody rearranging the kitchen. Both of those things are true at once, and the space between them is what this video is about. Because the word in the title, doing all the work, is not alone. It is prefer. Start with why so many Gen X men are in this position in the first place. Because it is not mysterious, and it is not a personality trait. Susan Brown and I-Fen Lin at Bowling Green State University coined the term gray divorce for marriages ending after 50. Their finding was that between 1990 and 2010, the divorce rate for that group doubled, from about 5 divorcing people per 1,000 married people to about 10 at the same time as the overall national divorce rate was falling. By 2019, 36% of Americans getting divorced were 50 or older. Gen X, born between 1965 and 1980, has been moving through that window. A man who is 55 today was 35 in 2006, and married in an era when it was still standard to be married by then. The arrangement of a lot of these households was not designed. It arrived, and here's where the psychology gets interesting rather than sad. After a long marriage ends, what most people encounter first is not loneliness. It is relief. The relief is real, and it is not shallow. A marriage that has become a low-grade negotiation about everything is exhausting in a way that only becomes visible once it stops. The house is quiet. Nobody has an opinion about the TV. The evening belongs to one person. That is a genuine improvement on what came before. And men in that position are not lying when they say they prefer it. But notice what is being compared. The comparison is not solitude against connection. It is solitude against the specific difficult relationship that just ended. Against that benchmark, living alone wins easily. It would win for almost anyone. The trouble is that human beings are very good at converting a situation into a preference. Psychologists have documented this for decades under various names. The general pattern being that we adjust our stated wants toward whatever we already have, particularly when the alternative feels out of reach. Give someone an outcome they did not choose, and they will frequently begin describing it as the one they wanted, which produces the question worth asking. And it is not whether you're lonely. That question is easy to answer defensively. The better question is whether the solitude is populated. Eric Klinenberg, the sociologist who wrote the major study of solo living, found something people rarely quote. Many people who live alone are more socially engaged than those who do not. They see friends more, go out more, participate more. Living alone and being isolated are genuinely separate things. But that describes a specific version of it, the one where a man has his own space and also has people in his week. The friendship data suggests a second version exists in large numbers, where solo living and empty social calendars have arrived together, and 1 in 5 unpartnered men is somewhere inside it. So the test is not how you feel about your house. It is what happened to your Tuesday. If the answer is that you have friends you see, work you care about, and a home that is a base rather than a container, then the preference is real and worth defending against everybody who assumes you must be miserable. If the answer is that the calendar emptied at the same rate the house did, then something else happened. Not a preference, an adaptation, which is a different thing wearing the same clothes. And there is a specific reason this catches Gen X men in particular. For a lot of men of that generation, the social infrastructure ran through the marriage. The invitations came through her. The couple friends were maintained by her. The dinners were organized by her. When the marriage ended, the entire social system went with it, and the loss looked like a preference for solitude, because the alternative had never been independently built. That is not a character flaw. It is a division of labor that made sense at the time and left one person holding all the connections. None of this is an argument that living alone is a problem. It very often is not. The point is narrower. A preference formed by choosing between real options is worth trusting. A preference formed by comparing your current life to the worst thing that happened to you is not the same animal, and it deserves to be examined rather than defended. The good news in the data is that this is a structural problem and not a psychological one. Friendship declines when the structures that produce it disappear, and it recovers when new ones are built. That is duller than a personality theory, and considerably more fixable. That is the cue most people miss if you live alone. Is it the version you chose or the version you got used to? Leave it in the comments. Subscribe to Psychology Q, and I will keep showing you the signals hiding in plain sight.